Look, I know it's February and this is just kind of how that goes. But are you guys like, you a little tired of movies that are just fine? I'm a little tired of movies that are just fine. Hey, what's up? My name is John Bonjour. I'm an artist and a film enthusiast. I have drawn some art and I would like to enthuse about some film. Today we are talking about Drive Away Dolls. It's directed by Ethan Coen and it stars... to pronounce this I'm gonna open it on YouTube now. It's an ad for TikTok. That's great. It's really great news. Free shipping. It's TikTok.
Vishwanathan Anand. Vishwanathan.
Give that a shot. It was directed by Ethan Coen and it stars Margaret Qualley and Geraldine Vishwanathan. I'm not going to lie to you, it's above my pay grade, so we're just going to go with it. This is going to be a non-spoiler review. I don't really want to touch on a whole lot that happens, although if I'm being entirely honest with you, the trailer does a lot of that. It touches on a lot of what happens in this movie, and that's okay. I think in this case that worked out fine. It does continue the trend of showing things from the third act, in fact, showing things from the last scene of the movie. So, you know, hey, what are you going to do, right? Except not do that. Like, just don't. Whatever, I'm not the one running the ad campaigns here, so there's not a lot I can do. We'll start off with the good, and there's a lot of good to this movie. The core cast is really solid. There's a lot of random stars. I think that they all play pretty well together. There's not a whole ton of the super famous people, which is cool. They're more like cameos kind of throughout the movie, which I think is fun. Like, I think that that's not a negative at all to the movie. In fact, every once in a while, like, Matt Damon will show up, and you're like, huh? Like, actually, his first introduction is on a billboard, which really, like, threw me off. I just wasn't expecting to see Matt Damon on a billboard today. It's a fun element to the movie. It's something I wasn't really prepared for, even though I kind of knew some of the cast going in. Also, not really a spoiler, Pedro Pascal is not in this movie for very long, and it's funny that he's in it at all. But as far as our core cast goes, that main duo that's kind of running the movie, their interactions are really solid. I think that they're very funny together. They clearly have a lot of chemistry, and it's really fun watching them kind of go on this road trip adventure. I'm a sucker for a good road trip movie, and this is absolutely one of them. I also think, generally speaking, the writing is really solid and fun. It's a Coen movie, so you're going to get that kind of weird, awkward styling that they're kind of known for. I will say, just as a general kind of thing for this movie, in terms of writing, it's not the best. It's not terrible. It's not bad. It's solid and fun, like I said, but it's just not, like, as good as we kind of expect one of the Coen brothers or both of the Coen brothers to be. So I don't know, I feel kind of mixed about just generally the writing on this movie. When it's funny, it's really funny, but then sometimes it tries to be funny and it's just not quite right. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something missing, and I'll get to some of that later on. Another thing that I think is kind of fun about this movie is just what it's trying to present, the story, the characters, the world that it's set in. Very fun. Honestly, like, I have no real complaints about that. It's a fun story. It's an interesting little crime caper. It's very funny in what it kind of reveals throughout the movie. There's some things that I kind of didn't expect them to tell us. You know, in Pulp Fiction, how there's that briefcase that you never know what's inside. I thought that they were going to kind of do that with something in this movie, and they ended up not doing that, and that made it even better because I was surprised that they told us what's, you know, the MacGuffin of the thing. I kind of expected that to remain a secret and be like a quirky element, is that we never really knew what was in there. Hilarious when they do tell you what's in there. It's so funny. It's just, like, it's great. That's one of my favorite things about this movie. It's very surprising. It's very fun. I think it's like a solidly made movie. Like I said, I just keep coming back to it. There's something that doesn't quite work about this. It's not detrimental to the film whatsoever. I see the potential for something that's a cult classic, something that we're going to be talking about for years in this movie, and it just doesn't quite make that. It doesn't make the cut for that for me. I actually watched this movie last night, and I've been trying to figure out since then what's just not quite clicking with this. Hello? Hello?
Yes, hello. May I speak with Jonathan? Bonjour.
This is he?
Quick, my name is Michael Ortega, reaching out on behalf of Comcast Xfinity, the company that gives you the internet service. How are you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Very good myself. I mean, it's Friday, right?
It is. It sure is Friday.
Yeah. Well, just briefly, before mentioning the reason of my call, I do have to tell you that this call may be monitored or recorded. And for more information about our privacy practices, you may visit xfinity.com.
You know what's so funny is I was just gonna tell you the same thing. I'm actually recording a video right now, and you're in it. So hey.
Oh, awesome. Well, basically, the reason I'm calling Jonathan and cameoing on your video is that given that you use the Xfinity services, you qualify for Xfinity Mobile. Have you heard about Xfinity Mobile?
You know we have, but we're not really looking for a mobile right now. But I appreciate it.
Okay. In what company do you have your cell phone service?
Oh, you know what? That's actually private. So I appreciate your time and thanks for cameoing real quick. And I hope you have an awesome day.
Have a good one. Happy weekend and have a great video.
I appreciate that, my friend. Have a great day.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. That was fun. What a nice guy. What was I talking about? Anyway, there's something about this movie that doesn't quite fit, and I watched it last night and I was trying to figure out what it was that I didn't quite connect with. And I think it's just that it's not as punchy as it could be. Not as necessarily that it should be, but I just think if this were written a little faster paced, if the jokes came a little bit faster and they were a little bit stronger, I think that would have been the thing to seal the deal and make this thing move on a little faster. And that's really the problem that I have, is that it's fun, it's entertaining, the world is interesting, the characters are interesting, but it's not a lot more than that. It doesn't really connect with an emotional side. It's not super hilarious. It's not notably funny. It's funny and it's entertaining, but it's not like, it's nothing that I want to write home about. Maybe it's not just one thing as I'm thinking about it that doesn't really work about this. Maybe it's just the collection of things. I fully understand as a creative myself, sometimes when you're making something, all the elements feel good and work well, and then it just doesn't quite come together. That happens. That's a thing in creative worlds. You never really know if what you're making is gonna be the best thing you've ever made or if it's gonna be perfectly fine. Hopefully that's kind of where it stops. I guess you never know if it's gonna be bad. I really don't have a ton to say about this movie if I'm being honest. I will say that it's really fun. Like, it's a solid time at the movies. It's worth seeing. I wouldn't necessarily say you have to go out and see it, even if you're a huge fan of all the other Coen brothers movies. This isn't really in the upper echelon of what they've kind of put out. I do like it though, so if you're looking for a movie for just a fun Friday night, I don't know, this isn't a bad option. I would say that this is worth looking into. It's maybe not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it's certainly not bad, and it's, it's a solid use of 2 hours. Oh, one more thing, I completely forgot to talk about it. A negative that I don't really like, and also a positive, so it's going to be kind of a weird one. The transitions in this movie are really strange, like really just very jarring, just like scene-to-scene transitions. Some of them are just like straight up just bad. There's times where they're like flip the frame around a bunch of times or do this weird driving sound effect as the frame moves over. It's cheesy and not in a fun way, in an almost like we couldn't figure out a way to get around this scene kind of way. It just gets to be really annoying at times. But on the other hand, there's times where the scene transitions are really funny and creative and really well done. It's a strange dichotomy because half the time they're really great and half the time they're really, really bad. My favorites are there's these like weird trippy drug sequences. It feels a lot like the Big Lebowski dream sequences in quite a few ways. Those are easily the best transitional moments in this film. It's entertaining and funny and interesting to watch. Even those though do go on just a little bit too long for my taste, but hey, I didn't make the movie, so like, not really a criticism, just like a personal opinion. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Drive Away Dolls. It's a really fun movie. I think it's worth seeing, but I definitely wouldn't say you have to rush out to see it. Maybe check it out when it hits streaming. Thank you for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, dinosaurs, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment below what you'd like me to review next. And if you have a second, please take a look at my free comic book, Edge of Bordertown. It's on my website, johnbonart.com. Like I said, it's free, and I think it's really good. Or maybe this is another one of those things that just doesn't come together. You let me know. Or do none of those things because I am not your dad. Did I say that earlier? I don't know. I guess if I did, two's not bad. And if I didn't, I'm not your dad, so now you have two.